And we're live, guys. Welcome to another episode of Good Morning Crypto. And today is all about India. Today is all about the dangers with central bank cryptocurrencies. That is the topic number one. Also, I want to remind you that if you haven't, check out business.IVANonTECH.com, which is our new course coming out in October. You only have a few weeks left before the price increases. We have 50% off now, so definitely check out business.IVANonTECH.com if you want to learn about Hyperledger, how big corporations are using blockchain, all of that good stuff. And so guys, the first topic of today is all about India. It's all about central bank money, central bank cryptocurrencies, and the dangers with central bank cryptocurrencies. Because we need to realize that we are living in a world where no country is safe from potential dictatorships in the future, and we're going to discuss that. So the story begins a few days ago, where we had this news from Tosha Times basically coming out and saying that Reserve Bank of India is planning to launch its own central bank cryptocurrency, CBDC, central bank digital currency. And the whole motivation for that was that, you know what, it's too expensive to do fiat money, you need to print, you need to invest a lot in this paper money, it costs a lot, and so on and so forth. So why not just do a digital money issued by a central bank? Something else that is interesting, according to, especially in India, is that they have this Aadhaar ID, biometric ID numbers that each resident of the country has. And so now people are basically fearing that these Aadhaar biometric IDs will be connected to this central bank digital currency. And something to know about Aadhaar is that it is the largest biometric ID system. And, World Bank chief economist Paul Romer has also described it as the most sophisticated ID program in the world. And so, I mean, if you just hear about it, if you hear about IDs based on your biometric data, if you hear about central bank digital currency, you might already for yourself see the issues. Because you realize that when a central bank can issue a cryptocurrency and they control everything, they see everything that is happening, and you are tied biometrically to your accounts, there are several different problems that can arise. Some of the problems we normally talk about on this show that we currently have with Visa and with MasterCard and with the current system in the Western world is the following: that let's say that suddenly you have a dictatorship in your country, you go to the wrong protest, you vote for the wrong party, and your government basically tells Visa or they tell MasterCard, remove that person from the system. That person is no longer eligible for using your system, so just remove them. That is what they can tell Visa or MasterCard, and suddenly you cannot pay for your food, you cannot pay for your rent, you cannot do any financial transactions, because in many societies, such as Sweden, there is a movement against cash. No one accepts cash because it's so easy to just use a credit card or a debit card, and businesses do not want to handle cash. So all transactions already in Sweden, for example, are cashless. It's all with Visa or MasterCard. And you see the dangers, because potentially we might see a dictatorship in Sweden. Of course, it's all very doomsday scenarios, but no one is safe. No country is safe from a dictatorship. That is something to realize. Even in the US, in all countries, you don't know what the government will look like in the future, and you do not want the government to have the power to, for example, exclude you from the financial system in your country. So that is why Bitcoin is so important, because you do not want to have Visa, MasterCard, a few private players controlling your financial life, and if they don't like you, you have no access to the financial system. Now, this is a bit worse, because with Visa and MasterCard, there are several different players involved. If Visa doesn't like you, maybe you can go to MasterCard. So, there are several different players involved. In this case, it's way more dangerous, because imagine a world where all transactions are digital, you have no paper money, you have no paper cash, you have no decentralized cash, such as Bitcoin. Everything is done through a central bank digital currency. Well, you realize that if your government doesn't like you, if your government doesn't think that you are a good citizen, or that you have bad ideas that is against the government, well, what happens if they exclude you from the system? What happens if they use your, Aadhaar ID because it's biometric, it's tied to you as a person? I'm not completely sure how it works, but basically it is your biometric data. On Wikipedia you can read that, these 12-digit unique identity numbers can be obtained by residents of India based on their biometric and demographic data. And of course, it is very dangerous. You don't know what the government in India will look like in 10 years, 20 years, 50 years. Who will be in power in India in that time? No one knows. And so basically you have Andreas Antonopoulos coming out and saying that this is a very dangerous situation. Central bank digital cash backed by centralized identity in a country that has demonstrated dangerous authoritarianism when it comes to currency. And also you realize that a lot of people live in that country, 1.3 billion people, not sure why it's a dollar sign here, but 1.3 billion people under totalitarian financial control is when democracy dies. Something to realize that, this might sound far-fetched, this might sound very dystopic, but this is something we need to think about, because as I told you guys, no one is safe from dictatorship. No country in the world is safe from bad governments, and therefore you do not want to put government in a position where they can exclude you from the financial system. You cannot buy food, you cannot buy fuel, you cannot buy anything because they don't like you. Something to keep in mind, and this was the first news of the day. And by the way guys, don't forget to smash those likes. I forgot to tell you at the beginning, don't forget to smash those likes. And this was the first topic.